Good evening, Garage Gang. You already know what time it is. It's your boy, Avatar John, back behind the wheel for your Tuesday night recap. And tonight is straight heat. The Fed just dropped the word crypto payments into a public statement for the first time. A whale hit another picture perfect trade. Same wallet that timed the last crash, and once again, right on cue. Aave cratered today. A layer 1 team shut their doors. Gold lost traction, and Bitcoin's been a yo-yo all day. Up, down, up again, no grip, no mercy. But you know why we're here. You're here for the money plays, because that's what the garage does best. And Triple X, he's still in the trenches. Wrench in one hand, profit chart in the other, pulling wins out of chaos like it's just another pit stop. So smash that like, hit that follow, and share this with your friend who calls himself a long-term investor, but panic sells every dip. Tell him to grab a helmet. Tonight's gonna move fast. Cue the lights. Fire the cylinders. Let's rip. All right, Garage Gang, wake up. The world's running on fumes, and every central bank out there is pretending they've got control. They don't. This whole economy's a four-car pileup happening in slow motion, and you're watching it live from the driver's seat. Let's start with home base, the US Federal Reserve. Powell walks up, calm voice, classic script, inflation, employment, same recycled lines. And then he drops it. Crypto payments. Boom. That was the spark. The second that hit the feed, Bitcoin ripped from 107K to 114K like a supercar hitting the nitrous. Traders didn't wait for context. They hit buy like their life depended on it. It wasn't logic. It was instinct. The Fed said crypto, and the market heard permission. That's how desperate everyone is for a new story. One word from the old system and the new system explodes. But don't kid yourself. The Fed didn't mean to moon your bags. They're testing tone. They know inflation's still sticky, growth slowing, and they're running out of clean tricks. So they whispered crypto to see what happens. And what happened? The whole damn market lit up. That's not monetary policy. That's gasoline. Now look across the pond. Europe's in a ditch. The ECB's still raising rates like it's 2022, while their economy's gasping for air. Factories slowing down, credit drying up, consumer spending fading. They're tightening into weakness, trying to fight inflation with a dead engine. That's not strategy, that's panic with a clipboard. Germany's leading the slowdown. France is right behind it, and the whole Eurozone's one bad quarter away from a full skid. China, though, total opposite. They're printing money like the world owes them rent. Housing bubble popping, exports dying, but the PBOC keeps slamming liquidity into the system. They'll call it stimulus. I call it bailing water from a sinking ship. And here's the wild part. That Chinese liquidity doesn't stay in China. It leaks into metals, into risk assets, and straight into crypto. That's part of why Bitcoin's been catching those random 3 a.m. rocket candles. When Beijing hits the cash cannon, global markets feel the splash. Now let's talk Japan. The Bank of Japan, or BOJ, is like a guy trying to drift a car while holding a cup of coffee, and the coffee's spilling everywhere. For 20 years, they ran with zero interest, basically free money for everyone. It worked for a while, but now inflation's biting and their currency's falling apart. The yen's sitting around 151 to the dollar, and every time it slips lower, they freak out and try to buy it back. It's like catching a knife barehanded. You might stop it for a second, but it's still cutting you. See, Japan's trapped. They owe so much money that if they raise rates too high, they blow themselves up. But if they don't raise, the yen keeps collapsing. They're literally stuck drifting sideways, hoping the tires hold. And here's why it matters to you. Big funds borrow cheap yen, dump it into crypto, and farm those returns. So when Japan sneezes, crypto gets whiplash. If the BOJ ever loses that drift, you'll feel it before they admit it. Put it all together, and it's madness in 4 time zones. America's bluffing, Europe's breaking, China's flooding, Japan's drifting. No coordination, no control, just 4 engines revving in opposite directions. That's why gold lost traction today, sliding while the dollar flexed. That's why volatility's back on deck. And that's why Bitcoin's been bouncing like a turbocharged yo-yo, because it's the only market left that actually reacts to reality. So when people ask why did it rip? Simple. The Fed said crypto payments, and the market didn't wait for permission. It lit the fuse. Now buckle up, because while the world's spinning out, crypto's burning rubber and breaking records. That's the world right now. 4 superpowers, 4 different gears, and not one of them knows where the finish line is. The Fed's whispering crypto payments like it's a brand new idea. Europe's tightening into a recession. China's flooding the track with printed money. And Japan? They're drifting sideways, hoping the tires don't give out. Global chaos everywhere. But while those central banks argue over policy, crypto's already moving. It doesn't wait for permission. It just reacts. Fast, loud, and without asking who's driving. Because out here in the garage, we don't trade speeches, we trade torque. And tonight, the torque came hard. Bitcoin cracked 114K, snapped back to 108, and the whole market lit up like a fuse line. That's not confusion. That's energy shifting from the old world to the new one. So forget the talking heads and the central bank excuses. The real action's not in the boardrooms, it's right here. In the charts, in the trenches, and in the volatility. Now let's talk about it. Right before the Fed even opened its mouth, the chain lit up. A single whale wallet, same one that nailed the last crash with a perfect short, quietly flicked direction and opened a $200 million long minutes before Powell spoke. No warning, no signal, just conviction. Then the Fed dropped it, crypto payments. Boom. Bitcoin ripped from 107K to 114K in under an hour. That whale didn't chase the move. He was the move. That's not coincidence. That's someone plugged into the feed before the rest of us even saw the lights change. While retail was still loading charts, the whale was closing in profit. Then, just as the dust settled, Trump jumped on X with no meeting with China. Front tire blows at 200 miles an hour. Risk assets skidded. Gold lost traction. Every chart on the board went red. 6 minutes later, he tweets again, "We'll work it out." Pit crew rolls in, slaps on a spare, and the market limps back onto the track. That's how fragile this environment is. One headline, and the whole race changes direction. And right in the middle of that chaos, DeFi detonated. Aave, the blue chip lending protocol, went from a top performer to a fireball. Over-leveraged longs, thin liquidity, Oracle delays, and liquidation bots all hit at once. The second Bitcoin reversed off that 114K high. Aave's system got stress tested in real time. Positions started cascading, oracles lagged by seconds, and those seconds were fatal. Liquidation bots feasted on delayed data, draining the pool faster than it could refill. 60% drawdown in hours. Not a hack, not a rug. Pure physics. Aave didn't get scammed. It got overwhelmed. Too much leverage, not enough brake pads. That's what happens when you drive a race car with bicycle tires. One wrong turn and the whole frame folds. And just when traders thought the wreck was over, another headline hit. Kadena. The chain itself stays online, but the team behind it, the people who built and maintained the engine, just shut down operations. No new updates, no maintenance, no roadmap. They said market conditions, but that's corporate code for we're out of money and out of gas. The token cratered nearly 60% in 24 hours, from just over $1 to around 40 cents. Market cap now under 100 million. Confidence on life support. It's not a rug. Nobody stole the cash, but it's close enough. A live chain with no crew, drifting until the miners or community decide what to do next. So in one session, you had it all. A whale front-running the Fed, a tweet blowing a tire at top speed, DeFi collapsing under leverage, and a layer one losing its builders. That's not coincidence. That's what a system looks like when it's overloaded with leverage, ego, and emotion. And while everyone else was spinning out in the smoke, XXX was already in position. Eyes on the liquidations, calm in the noise, finding the setups inside the chaos. Because real traders don't panic when the market melts. They shift gears, hold traction, and hunt opportunity in the wreckage. Listen up, Garage Gang. While everyone else is crying about rate cuts and red candles, AI is quietly minting millionaires. Right now, not next year. If you're still sitting around wondering whether it's hype, you've already lost ground. Anthropic just dropped Claude Code on the web. Browser-based, cloud-executed coding that writes, tests, and ships projects while you sleep. No setup, no dev environment, no excuses. That's a full-time engineer replaced by a tab in Safari. You can either use it to build something or get replaced by someone who will. Meanwhile, OpenEvidence, the ChatGPT for doctors, just locked in a $6 billion valuation after a $200 million raise. 15 million clinical consultations a month. Doctors aren't asking if it works. They're building their workflows around it. That's not hype, that's adoption. And adoption is where fortunes are made. Then, OpenAI walked in and said, "Cool story, now watch this." They launched Atlas, a Mac-based AI browser, and we fired it up here in the garage today. It's not browsing, it's reasoning in real time. You pull up a chart, it gives you context. You highlight a paragraph, it summarizes and cross-checks sources. You ask it to create, it builds. It's the next interface. If the internet was the ignition, AI is the turbo. And it's here, today, running on every laptop that's awake enough to download it. They're not doing this for show. OpenAI is fusing search, creation, and execution into one system. That means the people who learn how to talk to these tools, the ones who build workflows, not excuses, will out-earn the rest of the world for the next decade. The ones who don't, They'll be standing outside tweeting about how unfair it all is. And don't miss the big picture. AI just linked arms with Hollywood to fight deepfakes. Studios, actors, and tech giants signing contracts to control digital likenesses. That's not a press release. That's the entertainment industry admitting AI is the new camera. This isn't disruption anymore. It's replacement. Whole industries are rewiring themselves in real time. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. AI isn't coming to take your job. It's coming to give it to someone who knows how to use it. The playing field just reset. And for the first time ever, a kid with a laptop and discipline can outperform a whole department. That's the game now. So wake up. Stop treating this like a headline and start treating it like a weapon. Learn the tools, build with them, stack with them. Every major shift in history, electricity, internet, mobile, minted a new class of millionaires. AI is doing it faster, louder, and globally. You can either adapt or get run over. The world's changing whether you believe it or not, and the people who are plugged in, the ones building systems and products on top of these models, they're already cashing the checks. This isn't financial advice, it's survival advice. The next decade belongs to the builders who fuse human drive with machine speed. AI isn't your threat, it's your engine. Embrace it or watch it pass you by doing 200 down the straightaway. Now we get to the part everybody waits for, Triple X and his dirty plays. The man's out in Reno, Nevada tonight. He didn't come to think, he came to play. Checked into the Atlantis Casino, top floor suite, fresh shoes, crisp suit, the smell of risk in the air. He's got one rule, you don't complain in the trench. This isn't Wall Street. This is blackjack with real money. You walk in, drop 500 on black, and if it lands red, tough luck. No whining. You reset, breathe, and hit the next hand harder. Same rule in trading. You take the hit, you move on. Discipline is everything. Triple X lives that code. He's the trench general, the guy who never blinks when liquidity evaporates. While the rest of the world's panicking over fence statements, he's out there turning volatility into income. Charts are his roulette wheel, Dex screener is his table, and Axiom is the dealer whispering odds in his ear. And tonight, while Reno glows neon, the trench glows green because Safecracker dropped the files. And we've got the official plays for the next 48 hours. Top of the board, Solara, pronounced Solara, handle at easy to predict. This token passed every audit. Mint renounced, whales distributed, 56,000 transactions in 24 hours, and still holding torque after a 736% run. It's clean, it's loud, and it's fast. Entry between 0.145 and 0.155. Stop, 25% down. Target 2 to 5x if momentum holds. This isn't a guess, it's a machine-tested setup. Backup plays, Probity and PERC. Probity's the decentralized prediction market, low cap, renounced mint, tight distribution. PERC's a new perpetual exchange token. Same discipline, same danger. No on it sweat, but both hit every hard filter. Treat them like side bets. Calculated risk, clear exits, no emotions. That's tonight's trench lineup. Straight from Reno to your screen. Solara, at easy to predict. Probity and PERC. 3 engines, 1 mission. Stack precision over panic. And for anyone asking what that Japanese text means next to Solara, it's simple. It's not some mystery word. It literally translates to Solara, the name itself. A foreign label on a local rocket. Clean, global, and fast, just like the markets we play. So while Triple X lights a cigar and watches the roulette wheel spin, you're watching the same psychology play out on-chain. It's all the same game. Risk, timing, and nerve. The only question is whether you've got the stomach for it. All right, Garage Gang, take a breath. It's Lulu, and tonight the charts are screaming, not whispering. 3 time frames, 4 majors, and every one of them's telling the same story. Chaos with a pulse. Let's start with Bitcoin. On the 1 hour, that candle to 114,000 and back to 108 was pure nitro, and panic rolled into one. Zoom into the 15-minute chart, you can see the rhythm. Lower highs stacking like dominoes, RSI dragging around the low 30s. It's tired, but it's not dead. Here's the key. If Bitcoin can climb back over 109.8 with conviction, it's got room to breathe up toward 112. If it slips under 107, it's a slide down to roughly 104.7 before anyone catches it. That's your battlefield. 107 floor, 112 ceiling. Everything in between is chop. Now, Ethereum, it's sitting around 3,850 to 3,900, coasting between momentum and fear. The structure's clean but heavy. Lose 3,825 and the next pit stops around 3,700. Flip 3,920 and hold, and you'll see energy return quick. But here's the issue. Funding stretched. Traders are over-leveraged, and the algos are sniffing it. When I read ETH, I always compare the 1 hour trend with the 1 minute pressure. If they diverge, I wait. Patience is a position too. Solana looks like it just left a street fight. 1 hour shows a clear downtrend from 191 to 182. 15-minute candles show buyers trying, but every bounce is weak. The resistance line lives around 186 to 188. Break that, and we're climbing back to 195. Lose 180, and the next real traction zone is around 172. When I read Solana, I check for volume flow between the 1 hour and 15-minute. If they match, it's conviction. If they don't, it's noise. Tonight, it's still noise. Cardano is quiet but twitchy, hovering near 46 cents, RSI lifting, but it's still on the edge. If it loses 44, it's a drift down to 40. If it clears 48 to 49, it's got daylight and maybe momentum. But ADA's been the emotional one lately, heavy reactions, little follow through. Don't chase it, just read it. Now here's your lesson of the night. Every trader stares at one time frame and thinks they've got the answer. But that's like driving with one headlight. You'll see the road, but not the turn. I read charts like I listen to music. 3 instruments, 3 rhythms. The 1 hour tells me the trend. A 15-minute tells me the setup. The 1 minute tells me the heartbeat. When they all play the same note, that's when I take the trade. When they don't, I wait. So remember this, Garage Gang. Volatility isn't the enemy. It's the feedback. Markets move like engines. Loud, messy, powerful. Your job isn't to predict the road. It's to master the control. All right, Garage Gang, that's the lap. From the Fed whispering crypto payments to the mystery whale long before the mic turned on, from Aave's meltdown to Kadena's ghost ship and Solara running wild in the Solana trench, tonight was pure torque from start to finish. Now, just so we're crystal clear, none of this is financial advice. The head of technical analysis here in the garage is Lulu, and if somehow you're new, yeah, she's a pig. 4 hoofs, 1 tail, and a whole lot of wisdom, and the best chart-sniffing nose in the business. She can read momentum like a psychic, but if you're taking financial advice from a pig, you probably deserve what's coming to you. And if you do decide to take a swing out there, make sure whatever you're using, you can afford to lose it. Because you probably will. That's the truth. It's fun, it's wild, it's adrenaline. We love the thrill in the garage, but it's like driving a Porsche Speedster flat out on a wet track. One wrong turn and it's over. That's the beauty of it. High risk, high speed, high consequence. So be smart, be disciplined, and remember, we play this game because it's alive. It's not about luck, it's about control. If you want the real setups, the tools, the raw data, go hit gurucryptogarage.guru. It's free, it's live, and it's built by the same crew that trades it every day. And if you caught value tonight, smash that like, hit that follow, and share this with your degenerate friends who think Dogecoin's a savings account. Tell them the garage is open, the charts are live, and the engines never cool down. This is the Guru Crypto Garage, where risk meets rhythm and discipline meets drive. Catch you next round, gang. Stay sharp, stay fearless, and keep your hands on the wheel.